I don't even think it's 7 o'clock in the morning and my hands already are filthy from fixing pens this morning. And I also made a video this morning and found out that it was out of focus. And so now I can start all over again with dirty hands. Yesterday I made a movie which I did not bother to upload because it was just too boring. I mean, this is probably a boring video too, but anyway. And I was going through my Skyline fountain pen collection to try to find some that I could say goodbye to. And I learned that I can't really say goodbye to my pens very easily, which I guess I knew before, so I didn't learn it. I just cemented it in my little tiny brain, like I have all these ideas in my head to do something, and I can't do it. I can't say goodbye. It's impossible. But I did learn something about this pen right here, this one right here, which I used yesterday for a while during outdoor sketching, urban sketching, and that this pen sort of acts, to me in my little brain, this pen acts like a pencil more than other pens I have. It has this ability to shift gears immediately, and it's really an interesting sensation. I don't think this would be great for a calligrapher or even for a writer. Even a writer might find it less controllable. It's like this pen, looking at this pen, and if I were a writer, I would see the dashboard. I'm mixing all sorts of metaphors here, but it's like having a car that has a dashboard with way too many gears and way too many options and way too many things to be able to drive correctly. You know, if you got into your car and looked at the dashboard and it had the same amount of buttons as a 747 on it, you wouldn't know what to do. And this pen sort of is like that. You can tell almost immediately that it sort of has all of these different options available to it. And rather than trying to learn them to be able to write consistently, this is a really good pen to draw with because I'm able to shift gears without thinking. And I mean, I don't know, I'm really having a hard time describing the sensation that this pen gives me. But this pen is like having a pencil that goes from 6H to 6B. But it's not like a wet noodle. It doesn't have the wet noodleness because of the H. The H and the B are different kettles of fish. And the H is just a very hard nib that makes a very gray line no matter how hard you press down, and this makes a very black line. So this is like having two groups of pencils at the same time. And I can have this very light line. It's almost like I'm drawing with gray ink with this pen when I'm on the light stroke. And then when I really press down, it goes into black ink. When I have a wet noodle pen, it's always black ink, even if it's a fine line. It has an appearance of being black. This has an appearance of being sort of gray. And I don't know why that is. I can't figure it out. But this is like having a 6H pencil and not a 6B pencil, but maybe a 3B pencil. And it's really this is a pen that I could sketch with. And I mean sketch, not render, not draw, but sketch, because of the grayness that it sort of presents. Now this pen is somewhat similar, and part of the reason why it's in gray is because I'm using dirty ink, so I'm sort of cheating here. But this, now see this one even, this seems always to be writing in black, even though it's fine. It doesn't have the gray quality here, and I can't figure it out. I don't know how to even begin to describe it. No, this is having a little bit of the gray. There's just something about this particular nib that makes me think of a 6H pencil. This one doesn't. This is a B pencil. I don't know how to better to describe it. Now the dashboard of the 747 in your car, what was I thinking when I said that? Because it sort of is important. If I were to use this to draw with, it comes entirely naturally. If I had to use this to write with, I'd have to think way too hard. It's like driving a 747 without a computer helping you do it, or a co-pilot. You have to pay attention to all of the things. Okay, I'm making a thin line now, and I'm making a thick line, but I don't want to, I don't know, maybe it's possible. I don't know. But this seems to me to be a sketching pen because of that quality. When I saw this one, and this is a brown Skyline, which is a relatively rare color. The brown and gray are rarer than the other colors because not only were they ugly, for the most part, but their plastics were very brittle for some reason. And brown dye number 2 or whatever made the brown was brittle. I was thinking of perhaps putting this nib into the brown pen to sort of help remind me. It made me think of a pencil, a wooden pencil. It made me think of that. But this nib is almost like this one. They're somewhat similar, even though I said that they weren't. This one is more like a B pencil. You know, I also was just realizing as I'm babbling on about this that a pen collector wouldn't understand a goddamn thing I was saying. They might understand. I mean, they'd understand all the words and they'd understand what I'm talking about, maybe. But they would think that it's what I'm saying is useless. Now, that's probably true. But I'm not describing anything that can be appreciated by a pen collector in the sense of I don't know. In the sense of what? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Can you help me understand what I'm trying to say? I really don't know. This is a pen that's masquerading as a pencil. And it makes me want to sketch. Not write and not render exactly. It makes me want to be a little indecisive, which is maybe why I'm talking the way I'm talking, because I'm indecisive in what I'm saying. It's really an interesting nib. And this one, yes, this is similar, except not as flexible, but it also, this would be a really bad pen to write with. You might be able to do numbers. An accountant might like this pen. because it can put numbers down on a page, and a number being an abstract quantity or specific quantity, there's no meaning other than that. If I were to write the word love or the word hate with this pen, it wouldn't make any sense. This can write numbers perfectly fine. This one can write words with emotion and meaning because this can convey that. This thing can't really. This can do numbers because the number 17 is no better than the number 265. It's all presented equally. You do know that I'm just talking a pile of shit, right? And God, this just doesn't make any sense. I better stop while you're still watching. Maybe I had some sort of stroke in the middle of the night and I have no idea what I'm saying. But this is what's so neat. I'll end with this. This is what is so neat about trying a pen with a different kind of a nib. They just make your brain go in all sorts of different directions. And some nibs don't do that. Some nibs just make you think the one thought. And some of those thoughts are the thoughts you've already had. And you're not going to learn anything. It's like if you watch Fox News, and I use the word news with as many quotation marks around them as I possibly can fit. If you watch Fox News, you are not going to learn anything. You're just going to be retold what you already know, or believe, rather. And many pens are like that. You look at them, you put ink in the pen, you put it down on the page, and you draw or you write, and there's not one more thing. It tells you one thing. It gives you a fact, one fact, whatever that fact is, and it won't tell you anything else, no matter how long you write with it. Whereas nibs like this one, and many of these pen nibs, they keep telling me things that I didn't know before. And that's what's really, really fun about some nibs. And fountain pens, especially old ones in general, tell me things that I didn't know before. So I'll leave it at that. If you want to learn something, don't watch Fox News. And get an old fountain pen. Thus ends the lesson. Thank you.